Hey everybody, Heavy Hammer Bushcraft, welcome back. Hope everybody had a good holiday, good Thanksgiving. Ate not quite as much food as I did because I didn't need to eat that much, but I did. It was wonderful. And I always kind of like to take a few minutes on Thanksgiving and kind of think to myself, bushcraft, or what we call bushcraft, and the hobby that we have made of this, for people from the original Thanksgiving, that time period, even forward some, and definitely previously, what we do as a hobby, they did as that was life. That was how they lived. So just take a minute and reflect on that. That at some point in life, this was a way of survival. This is what people did. This is how they lived their lives. So I think it kind of humbles us a little bit sometimes to think like that, because what we do for a hobby was once just life. So yeah. That being said, I want to discuss a couple of knots, a couple of real simple knots today. Mostly because I wanted to do a video because I know it's been a little bit, and I got craziness with the holidays and more holidays coming up, and my schedule is a little wonky, so I don't know what my consistency is going to be until after New Year's. So I wanted to at least get this one out and hopefully get a couple more. And I know I said I had an announcement at the end of the last video that I was going to do a little short about, so I didn't get around to that because of holiday craziness, but I am going to get around to it at the very end of this video. So stay tuned for that, I guess. Um, I'm going to assume, since everybody, I hope, would know how to tie their shoes, but we'll you know what they say when you say assume. So everybody knows the square knot. Make you a loop, tuck your tail through, tight, square knot. Double that, you know, yep, you get a good knot. Um, Similar knot that probably one of the most frequent knots I tie is actually a slip knot. It's not an end of the line bowline. It's not a half hitch. It's a slip knot. Slip knot is remarkably easy. Take your loop, take the end of your rope, come around behind. So you're behind both of those strands. I know it's really hard to see with my big old hands in the way. And you're going to take this and feed it through there. Grab your loop, pull tight. You now have a slip knot. It's that knot is probably the biggest knot that I tie. I mean, I tie it for everything. That's how I usually start a ridge line. That's, if I'm tying out tent stakes, that's what I generally tie around the stake end of the tent stake. That's kind of my go-to knot. That is, if you know no other knot, know how to tie a slip knot, because you can probably make everything else work around it. Yes, you can get fancy. You can do your end of the line bowlines. You can do your fancy, square knot. Your fancy butterfly knots and all this stuff. And you know what? It's never bad to know a knot, but to know a good basic knot that you can tie nearly blindfolded in any conditions that will function and do what you need it to do pretty much all the time is priceless. And if you need to get a slip knot undone, you can just give it a quick pull. Comes undone. No more knot. So that one, and one that I tie a lot for ridge lines and for tent stakes, in fact, that is almost as versatile, I guess. If you need to tighten something down, send something down really good, it's called a trucker's hitch. Okay. Now I have my ridge line kind of set up here just for demonstration purposes, so I'm gonna bring my camera over, and I've kind of got this started, but I'm gonna start it over again so y'all can see it better. This is your start of a trucker's hitch, this loop right here. So we're just gonna pull that out so we can show you how to do it. You got your line, ridge line, whatever it is you got to fasten between 2 points, and you want to pull it tight, right? Well, to do that, I just put a finger over, fingers under, make a loop like so, a loop like that, and then you're just going to reach down through and twist your knot. I'm sorry, my bad. It's been a while. You're going to twist your knot, reach down through and grab the leading edge there, and you're just going to make a little loop. Okay, so you're going to twist it this way, pull this one through, you end up with a loop. Okay, now for a trucker's hitch, you're going to take your loose end of your line. This is the end that's hanging on the ground, and all you're going to do is you're going to stick it through that loop. Now, a lot of times, a lot of people will, like really try to cinch this down. They'll pull their whole tail through and all that noise. Don't get that fancy, because if you want to take this thing down quick, you don't need to be. Pull it tight, get it as tight as you want it, hold it over, Kind of hard to see again, but over, back through the little gap you just made between them. Pull her snug. And then you can do it again if you would like to. If I can make my hands work. Get it good and tight. That's really all there is to it. And you can pull it tighter if you need to. You can loosen it up if you need to. But that's about all there is to it. It's not quite as quick to untie from this end. Once you get these two knots here untied, you are just loose again. Just that simple. So, everybody has their own way. If I can do that a little better so y'all can see it. Yeah. We're through our loop, and I pull both strands through for each just to make it easier to untie. Come over the top, like so, and come back through right there. Now, if you want to leave it just like that, right there, that kind of makes it a little more quick release. Take all four of those, come back over, pull it snug, like so. Now you have this piece here that's hanging, holding those knots together. Now you can, at this point, just pull it. Flops loose. I really wish I had a better way to demonstrate that, where like you could actually see the knot better, but with my hands the way they are and the size that they are, it doesn't necessarily work that well sometimes. But this is probably, if you need a tight line, like a ridge line, a tent stake, anything like that you need tight, you don't want flopping in the breeze, this is the one. All right, now I leave one of these tied in my ridge line, usually probably 6 to 8 feet from the end of a 30-foot ridge line. You can actually probably round it out, making an even 10 feet from the end of a 30-foot ridge line, and you end up with that. I need to make a caveat there. I'm not the original inventor of this. This is not my original idea, okay? Another famous bushcrafter who I will not mention, who I have mentioned in previous videos, was the one that I learned to do the 30-foot ridge line from, and put the trucker hitch in it. Now I'm sure he would claim to be the originator of the idea, as he was with the 90-degree spine on a knife in order for striking a ferro rod and everything else. But we don't like that, and we're not here to take credit for other people's ideas. We're just here to teach you guys the ones that I've tested out, the ones that I've tried, and the ones that work best for me. And hopefully you learn something from this and they work well for you as well. So, those two knots right there are fantastically wonderful knots. Like I said, I mean, that you cannot get a tighter ridge line than you can with a trucker hitch. It's, you can't. That's what keeps everything. That's what keeps it tight. It's just its own friction. And I have tried so many other ways, even just, tying knots around a ridge line. Yeah, it'll keep it tight. Not the best. I had shorter pieces out here. Hold on, we can make shorter pieces. This is not my ridge line. This is just random paracord I had. I can show you guys one more that I like really quickly. I think I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Ah, yes, the prussik knot. For a prussik knot, I mean, you really don't need a lot. If you got like I actually do these normally on my ridge line with tarred bank line, which I keep a small roll of in my bag at all times when I'm out. But this is really nice if you need a movable attachment point on your ridge line, okay? All you do is you take your little loop that you've got here, right? You go over, okay, and you're going to come through the center and pull your tail. Oh, hey, I guess you can't see. Let's turn that. All right, so you take your loop, you go behind your ridge line, pull the front side down, come through back on the back side one time, go back around and do it again. And then pull the whole thing tight. All right, dress it up a little bit, make it look pretty. Okay, now you have an attachment point, okay? Now that attachment point doesn't like to pull. Like, it doesn't like to move. But you can grab it up top like this, right here. and slide it just as easy as can be. But if you put any kind of lateral tension on it, it doesn't want to move. And all it is, let's see if I can get you close enough to see it, is that right there. That is a prussik knot. That is a very handy knot for a movable attachment point on your ridgeline that you only want to move when you want it to move. So 3 simple knots. And I'm sure there are other people out there, look at that. I'm 270 pounds, I'm cranking on that thing and it ain't moving, so. But then like this, slide it all day long. So there are a lot of other videos out there that will teach these knots, but I mean, I just wanted to cover them quickly. Slip knot, trucker's hitch, and a prussik. P-R-U-S-S-I-K, I believe, not prussik knot. Probably almost without a doubt, the only 3 knots that I really tie. I don't find a whole lot of need for other knots. Like I said, it never hurts to know them. By all means, learn all of the knots you can, because knowledge weighs nothing. You can take it with you anywhere. But those are my go-tos. Those are my 3 go-tos. Now, see, I did kind of screw up when I tied this because I just did it for demonstration purposes, and all I did was tie a slip knot around the one beam. Should have done it differently, but, well, I was horribly ill prepared, I suppose, you know. Yeah, those are my 3s. Those are my go-tos. So all 3 of them fairly quick release, fairly easy to get out, but invaluable. Okay, so practice them. If you want, I can do much more in-depth videos, I suppose. I can try to get much better camera angles on each of them. But yeah, other than that, like I said, I don't tie a whole lot of knots. Besides those, I've not found. Ooh, wrap that sucker right around the tripod. Look at that. I've not found a lot of use for other knots, the butterfly knots, the mountaineers knots, you know, end of the line bowlings. You know, everybody loves to talk about tying a bowling knot, I think, just because they think it sounds cool. But the only other time I tie a knot is not one of those is when I'm packaging up my ridgeline. Now, when you package up your ridgeline, hold your tail by your thumb, down around your pinky, back up around your thumb, and just figure 8 that. Don't do it crazy tight, but just keep doing that figure 8. So you come around the thumb, around the pinky, around the thumb, around the pinky. Just keep doing that. This makes it really, really, really easy to unravel your paracord, your ridge line, or whatever kind of rope you're working with. Get you up here. So like I said, this is not my ridge line because my ridge line is not quite that long. You get up so you got a tail about that long left. Take it off your fingers. Hold it around the middle. Wrap, wrap, wrap. On your last wrap, leave it a little loose and just tuck it under your previous wrap. Fingers don't want to work with me today. Pull it snug, like so. That's it. And that will stay like that. And when you need to get it off, you're undone, pull that one out, and that whole ridge line just comes undone, just like that. No craziness, no nothing, you know, right there. That's simple. So that's about the only other knot that I really care much about for the most part. So now that I've discussed that, and we've discussed tent stakes and notches and everything else, I think as soon as I get holiday craziness out of the way, I think we'll be ready to go set up a tent for our first bushcraft endeavor, our first solo overnight, as you will. So, but as to my announcement, it's not really so much of an announcement, it's kind of a thing. I've had several people over the last few months after I got back from vacation and whatnot convince me that I take really good pictures, apparently, of nature and such when I'm on vacation. So I have taken some and I have made prints out of them, 8x10s, all of them. There's not a whole lot. I think there's 10. There's 10 that I picked for my last vacation. Fall colors mostly in New York and the Adirondack State Park up there, the Adirondack Preserve up there. Um, and I have 2 copies of each print. I'm going to mat them and put them in a nice little plastic sleeve and everything, so they are nice and, ready to go, prepared for shipping and whatnot. And I will be selling them for probably $15 per print plus shipping. It's probably going to be 20 bucks. Matted, ready to go. Find a frame for them and you're good. I don't have any of the pictures of them posted yet. I am going to try to get that done today. They will be posted over on the Instagram. So if you see any you like, or if you would like to know what they are before I post them, shoot me a message here, shoot me a message on Instagram, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. I'll show you what I got, and we can go from there. I don't think I take that good of pictures, but people apparently do. So we're gonna see what happens, I guess. As for that, like I said, I hope everybody had a great holiday. We got another one coming up. So happy Thanksgiving, soon to be Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is you happen to celebrate. Yule, Elfenblot, if that's your thing. Hope you had a good one. Hope you have a good one coming up. And hopefully I will see you back here on this channel before then. And if not, well, we'll see you in the bush soon.